The man who will start a world war goes by many names. Lucifer, Mephistopheles, Beelzebub. He has corrupted souls, waited for millennia. Now, Satan's time has finally come, and his army of the damned is being assembled. Winner takes all. For thousands of years, prophets around the world have predicted the end of days. More than one suggests the apocalypse is fast approaching. We call this theoretical convergence between doomsday prophecies and today's events the Nostradamus effect. Does the devil really exist? More than 70% of all Americans believe that he does, and 1/3 of them fear his power will ultimately consume the world. Biblical prophecies predict that Satan will seize power in what is known as the end times. The ancient texts describe how he will amass an army of evil whose sole purpose is to destroy humankind. These prophecies suggest Satan will seduce millions into following him and ultimately bring about the end of the world. Some say that today's unrest is a sign that Satan's army has begun to assemble.
Rising violence, not just between nations, but within societies all over the world, is one of the greatest signs, perhaps the greatest, that we're at the very end of the age, and it will grow much worse.
The scripture says the whole world lies in the lap of the evil one.
Does Satan actually exist? Is he possibly orchestrating our demise? Do other ancient cultures suggest similar evil figures, tempting us to commit wrongful acts? And could Satan, in one of his many guises, assemble an army of lost souls at the biblical Armageddon, a place where the world as we know it ends in annihilation? We will neither refute nor endorse these theories, merely present the evidence.
Satan is the father of lies. He is the one who is ultimately bringing all these conditions to the world around that affect men as they do.
Satan appears in early Judaic texts as an agent of God whose sole purpose is to tempt mankind into sin. But many Christians believe Satan is a fallen angel who was once loyal to God, and in the ultimate act of vengeance is now conspiring to overthrow his kingdom.
Here's God occupying the top spot in the cosmos, and Satan doesn't like that. He can't stand it. His pride won't let him accept that. So arrogance and pride, those are the hallmarks of Satan throughout the ages.
In the book of Revelation, Satan appears during the time of tribulation, a 7-year period characterized by extreme disasters. At the end of this biblical time period, Satan returns to earth to recruit corrupt souls for an army that will confront God. This Revelation prophecy establishes the ultimate battle that will occur between good and evil.
Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time.
This form of writing we call apocalyptic. It comes from the word for revelation, apocalypse. This apocalyptic writing had certain characteristics that were common all across apocalyptic examples of writing. For example, virtually all of them feature some kind of great cataclysm, some kind of great battle between the forces of good and the forces of evil.
But is Revelation's depiction of Satan's prophecy meant to be taken literally? And how does this belief compare to other religions? An examination of early civilizations reveals that certain cultures believe in a supernatural evil being.
If you go back to the earliest cave paintings, you know, several thousand years before Christ, and you look at those, there will be animal-like, half-man, half-beast figures.
A powerful god, capable of death and destruction, emerges from the texts of ancient Egypt.
Ancient Egyptians had a kind of devil-like figure that at the end of your life you would appear before the gods and they would weigh your life. The goodness in your life had to outweigh a feather. If it didn't, you were cast off into some form of darkness.
And what of Islam? Does this global faith, 1.5 billion strong, have a satanic figure that orchestrates the end of days?
Satan in the Islamic tradition is known as Iblis. And Iblis is different than the devil in Christianity in that he is not a fallen angel. He is a separate type of creation known as a demon spirit or a jinn.
According to the Quran, Islam's holiest text, this demonic spirit corrupts humanity and brings down God's wrath upon the world.
There are signs that the day of judgment will come. There'll be all kinds of catastrophes.
According to traditional Islamic beliefs, the end of the world will be preceded by two distinct catastrophes, a red death and a white death.
Before the Qiyams rise, two deaths will occur. One death red and the other white. These will kill 5 out of every 7 persons. The red death will occur by means of killing, and the white through epidemics.
Interpreters believe that these two forms of death correspond with 2 of Revelation's 4 horsemen of the Apocalypse. In Revelation, the Red Rider brings death by war, the Pale Rider by sickness.
There's some indication that the end of time will be near when there is mass devastation and famine and hunger and environmental degradation and conflict and warfare.
But does Islam, like other religions, feature an actual satanic figure? And does this figure also lure humanity to destruction in a final battle? According to Islamic tradition, Muhammad told his companions,
He will claim to be God and try to create doubts in your minds. Have a firm belief. The one-eyed creature cannot be your Lord. He will claim to have come with the gifts of paradise and an arsenal of hell.
There will be a great deceiver, the Dajjal, who will appear and lead people astray and will wreak havoc on the environment and on civilization and will destroy and kill many people.
In the midst of this suffering, the Islamic prophecy suggests a Redeemer called the Mahdi will return alongside Jesus Christ.
The Islamic view of the end of the world is very similar to that of the Christian view. Muslims believe that Jesus will come back at the end of time.
According to Islamic tradition, Jesus and the Mahdi will join forces and lead their chosen ones into battle against the one-eyed Dajjal and the Sufyani, a bloodthirsty tyrant.
There'll be a day of judgment and people will be sent to heaven or hell depending on how they conducted themselves in this world.
Images of a figure similar to the devil also appear in the carvings of the Aztecs, some as many as 680 years old. In addition, the Hopi Indians believe in a malevolent force. They imagine this force not in human form, but as a fog that rises from the earth to dilute the hearts and minds of people. Like Satan, the fog is prophesied to bring about complete destruction, which the Hopi call the Day of Purification.
The Hopi had 5 worlds. We're moving from the 4th into a 5th, and they predicted it would be a time of unrest and chaos and disorder. And I think, again, if you look at the news, we're seeing that.
The Hopi doomsday prophecy gained attention in 1958 when a minister driving along an Arizona highway offered a ride to a Hopi elder. After riding in silence for several minutes, the elder shared his prophecy of a battle between good and evil that will abruptly end the current era of man.
The world mankind will battle against